1404 plan for Dash and scopes. By December we aim to have the basic infrastructure for new scopes in place and have 2 or 3 sample scopes in place to test and verify that everything is working. On the UI side, the focus will be on the card and category layouts, as well as providing a way to display the results. All code, meaning backend and frontend, needs to be fully tested by then. During January, we want to complete the card and category UI implementation, have the new Dash integrated in Unity 8, and be able to run the remote server scopes. On the client scope side, we aim to have the app scope ported to the new API. By the end of February, we should have the new Scopes API finalized, meaning no API breakage afterwards. We will also complete the scope deployment story, including confinement and click packaging. Otherwise, February and also March will be used to port more high-quality scopes like Amazon, Groove Shark, or News. Most of the new Scopes backend infrastructure has been implemented, and it's now possible to run queries, and results are shown in the Dash. However, the new scopes are not yet enabled by default. The API has been implemented to be functionality on par with 13.10. New features like departments and improved filtering have already been added. API documentation is already available on developer.ubuntu.com. On the UI side, most of the design specs are in place and UI implementation has started. The card layouts are done by about 80%, but for category layouts we currently only support grid and carousel renderers. We implemented a scope development tool that helps us with template development, but also scope authors to tailor scope appearance later on. And last but not least, the REST API for local to server-side scope communication as well as server-to-server scope communication has been implemented. So what's still missing for 1404? Well, first of all, we differentiate 2 milestones, one for mid-February that will bring us on par with 13.10 functionality, and another milestone for mid of April, which then delivers the new Scopes 1.0 with rich UI layout support, departments, filtering, and favorite scopes management. So for mid-February milestone we are still missing, finishing the porting of music, video, and app scope, introduce basic version of scope, preview functionality where remaining work is mostly on the UI side, finish, that means more polishing the card UI templates and complete the journal category layouts, and finish the scope registry and scope invocation. For the April milestone, we'll still need to finish the last pieces of the API, including Go and JavaScript bindings, documentation, tutorials, and so forth. We also need to implement the scopes deployment story that is mostly about packaging scopes and click packages. On the UI side, it's mostly about the overall Dash UI layout, meaning filters, departments, breadcrumbs, and so forth. There are also quite some items left for the scope. This includes favorite scope management, both the UI and backend, and a server-side service to directly present matching results in the Dash. Speaking of the server, we plan to port the wiki, the weather channel, Amazon, eBay, and Groove Shark server scopes to be ported by mid of April. All in all, still some work to be done, but we are highly confident that we will reach our goals in time.